All right, in this episode, we are continuing to answer the frequently asked questions that we receive in our office here at Frank Walker Law. So let's go to my list here. This list is getting longer and longer. I thought it was getting shorter. Can I go to jail or will I go to prison? Very good question. Very good question. Now, let me start from the beginning. There are maximum penalties for crimes, whether you're in West Virginia, whether you're in Pennsylvania. The judge will tell you once you arraign the maximum penalties and the maximum fines. Very rarely do people get the maximum penalty or maximum fines, whether you're in state court or federal court. Very rarely does someone get the maximum. However, is it possible you can get the maximum? Yes, it is possible you can get the maximum penalty.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Is it probable that you'll get the maximum penalty? No, it's not.
Yeah!
It really isn't. A lot of times, if you haven't been a frequent flyer or you're not experienced in a criminal justice system, first of all, kudos to you. Second, you may think that, so I can go to jail for this. It's my first offense DUI, or it's my first summary offense, or it's my first disorderly conduct. I was fighting. I was intoxicated in public. I did something stupid. A lot of those crimes, if it's your first offense, you're going to get the benefit of the doubt. And you get sound legal advice, you get a good attorney. You can go in there and walk away possibly with a fine, or maybe even something where you can get a crime or a case deferred, where you do certain things, probation, you do community service, and get something wiped off your record. Even take some classes or something, get it wiped off your record. Most of the time. So small offenses, misdemeanors, things like that, you're probably not going to go to jail. Again, it's no promises. Anything can happen. Is there exposure that you could go to jail? Yeah, but it depends on the case. And that's why it's always important to get an experienced criminal defense lawyer who knows these things, knows the area, knows the court you're in, knows the prosecutors you're dealing with, and knows how those crimes are treated in that particular jurisdiction. What are the crimes where you're more likely to experience the likely exposure to prison time or jail time? These are the more serious offenses, like the felonies, the repeat offenders. You're a career offender in federal court, or you're in federal court, or you're armed career criminal in federal court, or you're charged with one of the homicide crimes in state court, or you're charged with a violent crime, or someone's truly injured, really injured, or someone has lost a lot of money, lost a lot of time, lost some freedom, or you're responsible in the cover-up of a dangerous felony. Those are the crimes where you start looking at, you know what, there's a possibility I may go to jail here. No one can tell you definitely either way. However, it's important for you to have an experienced criminal defense lawyer. Give them all the facts. They should be able to give you the best possible outcome for your case. They should be able to tell you, here's what you're looking at. This is what most likely could happen. And this is how you can increase your chances of staying free. You can do some things that are, before you show up at trial. You should do some things that are proactive, meaning community service. You can do some counseling, inpatient counseling, inpatient rehab. You can pay some money back if you're charged with stealing money. There are a ton of things your attorney can advise you to do prior to going to your final sentencing date to determine whether or not you go to prison or go to jail. The term jail, they're not interchangeable. The term jail is usually for people who are awaiting trial or they're serving a sentence that's usually less than a year or two. In Pennsylvania, it's less than 11 and a half to 23 and a half months. 23 and a half months is the magic number in Pennsylvania. Anything less than that, you can serve that time in jail, the Allegheny County Jail. However, if you're sentenced to anything in excess of 23 and a half months, that is considered a state sentence. And they call that prison. Prison and jail are not the same. Prison is reserved for people who are serving a longer term incarceration versus a shorter term incarceration, like for something like a local DUI where you get charged and you're sentenced to 6 months in jail. You can serve that in local jail. But when you're talking prison time, whether it be state or federal prison, it's usually as a result of a more serious crime. So to answer your question, can I go to jail or can I be sentenced to prison? Yeah, you absolutely could, but that's not the right question. The question is, does this crime for which I am being charged with, if convicted, is it likely that I will go to jail or prison? And that is a question that can only be answered by an experienced criminal defense lawyer. If you find yourself in that situation asking those questions, it's important that you contact an experienced criminal defense lawyer who can give you their take on whether it's likely you spend time in jail or prison, and if so, how can you decrease those chances of you going there by doing something that is proactive? As always, any questions, give us a call, 412-532-6805, or visit us online at frankwalkerlaw.com.